is your host, Hollie, and it's time for a little teaser talk.
Welcome to Rockville at Daytona International Speedway with Foo Fighters. It's times like these. Motley Crue. Slipknot. I am a world before I am a man. Disturbed. Limp Bizkit, Queens of the Stone Age, Judas Priest, and more. Welcome to Rockville, May 9th through the 12th. 4 days, 5 stages, 150 bands. On sale now at welcometorockville.com.
Happy Teaser Talk Tuesday, everyone. I am so excited because today I'm interviewing a band that I haven't even seen yet live, which is really cool because typically when I do media coverage, especially like at music festivals, I meet the bands on site, and I'm very fortunate that the guys from StrateJacket are here with me, and we are going to kind of chat a little bit and then get to know each other. And then, of course, obviously, it would be really cool, and I could see them at Welcome to Rockville next week, which obviously listeners listening, and you guys are listening to it this week. So, guys, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us. We're very stoked.
Me too. So for those who don't know who you guys are, can you guys go around and introduce yourself of who you are and then what you do in the band?
I'm Jackson Roemers. I play guitar and sing.
I'm Fabian Angel. I play bass and I do backup vocals too.
I'm Nate Mangold, and I play drums, and I also do background vocals.
Very cool. I love that. Well, let's just hop into it. So what is StrateJacket's story? How did you guys meet? How did you guys get into the music scene?
Jack and we actually knew each other since childhood, and I didn't really pick up like any instruments until high school. He learned in middle school. And after high school, we met up and we just started jamming out. We had this like little band thing going on, and during the pandemic, we reached out to Nate and we were like, hey, you want to jam out with us? He comes to the shop, and just that first jam, it felt like electric, it was awesome. And ever since then, we've been practicing 3 times a week. We've been playing any shows we can get our hands on, and we're just trying to polish and perfect every time we have a chance to.
That's awesome. So let's kind of backtrack and dive a little bit deeper in that COVID part, because you guys are California based, correct?
Yeah.
Beautiful. So
Very.
I know California was definitely, you guys had a huge impact on COVID because, as you guys all know, each state had its own different restrictions.
Yeah.
In California, you guys were very shut down, closed down everything. How did you guys kind of work through that? Because it was tough, not even just obviously physically not being able to get out, but also mentally, you just kind of shut off from the world.
Yeah, I think it was the fact that we had the band and we had a place to play that made it easier for us to cope with the pandemic. We were obviously upset that there was no venues to play in and there was no scene really anymore. It kind of just all crumbled to the ground. But instead of sitting in our houses all day, we got to go to our practice spot and play and just perfect what we were doing. So
I love it.
It was a hard time for a lot of people, but we were able to make the most of it,
Yeah, that's awesome. I know there's a lot of musicians, they kind of either stopped and you never heard from them during that time, or they really just poured heavy into music. And obviously, like you said, there's no live shows and stuff, but it was always great to watch. I remember it was kind of a weird thing, not weird, bad, but weird, cool. People do the concerts on Facebook Lives and things like that, just to kind of have us have some kind of sense of live music. So
yeah,
that's
we
awesome.
do our fair share of those as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, you guys are, and take this as a compliment, but you guys are young, which is exciting. And no offense to all the elder rockers out there, but I'm curious, being a young band, obviously you guys being young, what challenges do you guys face as young musicians navigating the music industry? And then how do you overcome those obstacles?
Well, Nate. Well, I mean, personally for me, you're right. It's like we're still pretty young in the industry, and I noticed that I resort to reading autobiographies or watching movies like Rocket Man or Queen to help guide me, because there's times I'll have anxiety, I'll be nervous, I'll doubt my self-worth, and there's not really like a manual or a handbook. You just kind of have to thug it out. You have to just try to keep pushing forward. And I don't know, for me, since we're pretty young in the industry, we're still learning, and I feel like I'm trying to like navigate through it through like other famous musicians' perspectives and seeing how they dealt with it. And I'm like, oh, I can take from that. Like Dave Grohl's book, I remember he talked a lot about how like his childhood and how he would like neglect certain things. Like I remember he talked about this one story where like he like cut his arm open or something. He hurt himself really bad, and then he was like, oh, but it, even though this is really bad, like it's fine, I don't care. And then the person who cared the most was his mom. And then he felt to realize that, once he became like an adult, he was like, damn, like I really gave her a heart attack. And just because I didn't care about it doesn't mean that others don't. And
Yeah.
I just try to grab advice from that.
I think one of the fun things too is that um, everything is like exciting, you know what I mean? Because it's all happening for like the first time, it's like our first release, it's like our first studio singles, and it's been like this crazy journey, and it's I think it's going to be fun to like look back on, when we're older, so that's one of the cool things about being on the younger side. I don't really feel that young, but
Because
Well,
we
I
also
mean,
did like
it,
emerge from like 2020 COVID, like
yeah.
it was a weird time. We turned 21 during the pandemic, so it was like our early 20s were like weird.
Oh no, yeah. Well, I mean, for sure. And like I said, I mean it in a good way because it's not saying like, oh, you guys are young guns or whatever. It's more of like that's exciting. But I know like there are a lot of people, even, middle school, high school, like super, super young kids that look up to musicians like you because you are young and getting, full throttle right into it. So I was just curious to see what you guys' thoughts are on that. But yeah, that's awesome. Very cool. So listening to you guys, obviously I like to jam out like a good hour and a half before I interview somebody just to listen to their music. And one thing I picked up is you guys definitely have a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of diverse influences, ranging from like the Beatles to like metal to alternative rock. How do those influences that you guys pull into your sound, how do they contribute to the unique sound of your band?
I think they
take it, Nate. Take it.
Nate. Yeah, man.
I mean, all our influences, like you said, they all clash together. And I mean, just take certain aspects, whether it be like tones or like playing style. For me, I go more on like the metal side. I've heard. I don't really think that, but I do use like a double bass pedal, which is what most metal drummers use. But I don't use it like that much. But I think it definitely affects how I play, because yeah.
It definitely helps navigate
That's
us,
real.
like
That's real.
as like we're crafting songs, we like sometimes like there'll be like little road bumps or like moments where like I feel stumped, and then I'll just be like, oh, like what would they do? What is like something 2000s? What's something 2010s? What's something from the 70s? Even like a walking bass line thing, like or like some Paramore chops. Like I don't know, like I use it to help navigate me for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I'm curious, this is kind of like maybe the same kind of answer, but you guys do have a unique sound. How do you differentiate yourself in the punk and alternative music scene? Because let's be honest, there are a lot of, I guess you would say lookalikes, if you will. So
Yeah.
how do you guys accomplish being unique and standing out and aiming for a raw and stripped down like sound that you guys produce?
I don't even really know if we try that hard to
Yeah.
stand out, to be honest.
At
We
least
just
in our
wanna
area.
I feel like we'd never sacrifice just making a great song to be unique, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we're
Like
pretty true to ourselves in that way.
we really wanna just make good music and hope that the people that find us like us, And
That's awesome.
um yeah, I mean, we're not breaking. I don't feel like we're not reinventing the wheel quite yet, what I mean? Like, but we just want to make catchy fun songs right now, and I think like the fun thing is like I always felt like there needed to be more of there's a space maybe for like just a more old school approach to the music that we're playing, because I feel like a lot of it could be a little bit overproduced today, and saturated, and I don't feel like that's the kind of record that we made. We did our genre, which benefits from having like a lot of production, but we did it in like an old school way, I feel like. So I would kind of say that would be how we stand out currently.
So it's like, yeah, you guys aren't doing what everyone else is doing, because I do feel like there are some people that, no offense to them, it's awesome to put music out, but they kind of sound all the same. So it's cool to see that you guys have all that going on. So, you guys do have a great job of creating catchy music. And for one of my favorite songs is Bad Start that you guys have. I'm curious, what was the inspiration for the creation of that song? And then, how did it capture the band's experiences during the early days?
That song's fun because we kind of like came up with the idea together, and it was like the first song that we wrote, and that we wrote as a band, the three of us. Obviously, like, we had songs that we had released before, but I don't feel like it had every one of ours like touch on it. And that was like the first song we kind of had that was created from the three of us. It was literally like the first song we ever wrote, like, years ago. Which is why it's cool that it's like coming out now, and some people like.
And it's evolved quite a bit too.
Yeah.
It was very different.
It was like a
First time.
slow song at first.
The intro had like a riff
Yeah.
to it too.
There was
Yeah.
but I remember just kind of sitting in my backyard, which is where I wrote a lot of songs during the COVID-19 pandemic, and just kind of wanting to write something about the current state of my mind at the time, lyrically at least. Yeah.
That's awesome. It's like, it's kind of like you said, how it's changed. And I'm not going to call it the ugly middle schooler, but like when you're in middle school and you're kind of like, don't know exactly who you are or what you are, but now it's like, oh, look, I'm the one that didn't peak in high school. I kept going. So that's how I kind of think of that song.
Definitely true. Yeah.
So you guys mentioned that you guys play a lot of gigs. You take on as much as you possibly can. And I know that you guys kind of have that self-proclaimed like guerrilla tactic, if you will, or a guerrilla approach to taking on gigs. How does this unconventional strategy shape your performance style?
There was a lot of moments whenever we would accept a show, I felt like we were the black sheep of the community sometimes, because like metal is very important here, and like really hardcore punk, and there'll be a bunch of gigs we play that we sound like just like a super poppy band next to these other guys, just because they're heavier, they use like distortion, like gain all the way to 11, and we're pretty heavy too, we have our gainy moments, but I don't know. I think because of that, we had to push through. We had to like bring this energy, even if it wasn't from our tone, but it had to be from ourselves, our own soul, and performing and giving it our all, just in front of these metal bands and like opening for them. It's like it helped create this punchy energy that we all contribute when we play live.
That's awesome. Well, while we're on the topic of gigs, like I had mentioned earlier, I have the privilege of seeing you guys live next week at Welcome to Rockville. Let's talk a little bit about that. How exciting is that opportunity? And then also, what days are you guys playing? And yeah, let's hear the details of this.
We're playing on May 12th. I don't know what
day.
Sunday, right? Yeah.
Sunday. I don't know like what stage that is yet. I still don't have like an itinerary deal.
Opening for Sum 41.
For Sum 41 in the
Chats,
Chats, and
dude.
Military Gun, and some straight up legends, dude. So we're really stoked. Like we're fans of like Sum 41 in the Chats long before we've had the opportunity to play for them and stuff, and we're just stoked to check out the other bands on the bill and hopefully make some friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, we're super excited. We've never played anything like this. I've never even been to a music festival, period. So this is gonna be my first one. So I'm pretty stoked.
Yeah, you are in for a treat. We have a big one here in Oklahoma. It's Rocklahoma, and it's kind of similar. Instead of 4 days, it's 3 days. But yeah, it's I know that are you guys? First off, my first question for you is: are you guys camping?
No, but we do have to go to a campground to do some
promotional
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna. Originally, someone wanted us to like play there and then play our set, and that got
like
scratched.
an acoustic set.
Yeah. So that got kind of scratched, but yeah, we're gonna spend some time down at the campgrounds where we're not camping.
Yeah, when I go to these music festivals, I'm not gonna lie, I need like running water and
Yeah.
AC or heat or whatever kind of the elements are. So, but I've always heard like the craziest stories from the campgrounds. One of these days, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get bold enough to and brave enough to like, go out there. But until then, I'm definitely needing to shower on a daily basis in a place that has clean towels. But yeah, that's awesome. That's exciting. So you guys are performing like a small, like intimate set like offsite on the campgrounds, or how's that going to work?
Oh no, that got so we're not
Scratch.
playing at the campground. It got kind of scratched. I think that was the idea, though.
Yeah,
That would have been cool though, for sure.
It does kind of sound like it would have been cool.
Yeah, what the heck?
Well, outside of the Welcome to Rockville, what other super exciting things do you guys have up your sleeve that we can look out for pretty quickly? And spoiler, I already know the answer.
Well, we're opening for Offspring in what, July?
In July.
July. That's gonna be.
We have our
fun.
EP coming out next week.
EP next week. We're doing Aftershock in October.
That's
And yeah, hopefully we're touring a little bit around those dates and in between those dates. That's kind of the idea. And yeah, I mean, just those three big things that are happening.
We're recording,
Plus,
right?
oh yeah, and we're recording at the end of the month as well, which is exciting.
We're going back to the studio to record a track that we're very happy with. It's super cool.
That is
We are
awesome.
stoked, yeah. So
That's
new
very
music
good.
and stuff, yeah.
Let's dive into your EP that's coming out. What is it coming out? May 10th, right?
Yeah.
May 10th.
Beautiful. What can we expect from this?
Hopefully, like, just like taking like some interesting turns, like the album's not like full of like, there's not like 11 bad starts on the album, it's like all different, like
Good diverse
So-
taste of what we offer.
we switched it up and we did different things. I'm really stoked for it. I'm really stoked for one song in particular that's kind of like folky and ballady. So there's gonna be some still like that kind of stuff on it, and yeah, just more StrateJacket.
I love it. Well, I can't wait to hear it. I do have one last question for you guys. So, as StrateJacket continues to carve its path in the music industry, what ambitions and dreams drives you guys forward, inspiring you to reach new heights? And also, what are you guys looking to achieve through your music?
Oh.
I know that's a big question.
I think I'll speak for myself, but I think I just want to like see if I could make people, happy and make them not feel sad and shitty all the time. That's the idea. Or to make them feel heard, like there's other people with the same problems that they have, and so that and yeah, you take it.
That is pretty much my answer, honestly.
Yeah. I want to make
Having
people dance.
connect and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Connect. Yeah, I love to watch people, dance and feel connected at our shows. That's what I want from our music, is to have like this cool moment where it's like, even if we're playing for like 100 or 1,000 or more, like in the end, like I look at it like we're just playing for one person, and that's for every individual.
I would also say that we're like a pretty ambitious group, though. Like we do want to like succeed a lot, we
Yeah.
have a lot of drive to do that, and we're just kind of enjoying the ride as it comes. But yeah, we hope to go as far as we can. We're not just like, oh, this is fun, let's do it for a while and stop. It's really like, let's take it as far as we can take it. So
Yeah, the impact, the legacy that you guys will do. That's super exciting. It's interesting because I had an artist on my podcast and he was born clinically deaf. And the
Oh.
crazy thing is he was telling me the story. He was like, well, I remember the moment whenever it switched for me, because he wanted to drum, he wanted to do this stuff. His body couldn't do it, even though he could hear it, he could understand it he said he was listening to Metallica. I can't remember which song it was, but it was a Metallica song for like on this road trip for like hours. And he said there's a moment in time where like he heard this big pop in his head, like a loud sound. And from that, like everything changed. He could drum, he could do music. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's legacy. Like that's how music changes lives. You know what I mean? Like Metallica, like, so you never know what you guys could do and who you could reach through music. So I thought it was a really cool story.
That is crazy. Like, so he heard like a big pop in his head, and then he could hear.
Yeah, and it's like his body, and there's some neurological science behind it. I don't know, I'm definitely butchering all that detail, but it's it's like it's something to do with like the brain and how it operates. But yeah, it was crazy. It was a
That's
crazy
nice.
great story. So I'm like thinking through, and I always like to think, I'm like, man, you never know how impact like your music can make an impact. Like Metallica song changed this guy's life. Your guys' song could change, I mean, how many people's lives? So I think it's a really cool thing that you guys are doing.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, hopefully we could make people hear again. That would be crazy.
Yeah, it was wild. It was a wild story. Well, anyways, I lied. I have one more question for you guys. The last question is this: where can listeners find you guys and watch your journey and hopefully, obviously change their life through your music?
Find us on Instagram and TikTok, and obviously Spotify and Apple Music.
YouTube too. We have little shorts and vlogs, and our live, like we have like an animated like lyric video, So all those spots are cool.
Yeah, so go check us out. Go give us a follow, give us a listen, and check out the EP.
Absolutely. Awesome, guys. Thank you guys so much for being on the show. Everyone listening in, like they just said, go follow them because you will not be disappointed. I know I personally do, and I listen to them on Spotify, so you will not be disappointed on that. Also, catch them if you guys are going to a Welcome to Rockville on the stage Sunday. And of course, you guys make sure you get that self-titled EP that's releasing May 10th. Until next week, you guys, keep rocking. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Teaser Talk. Head over to teasertalk.com to subscribe so you don't miss out on another episode. Until next week, keep rocking.